It's Tim Albright with AVNation with the Road to ISE. Integrated Systems Europe comes your way the 31st of January through the 3rd of February. And with me to talk about their stand is Mr. Daryl Friedman, CEO of CEDIA. Welcome, sir.
Always good to be back and looking forward to ISE.
Well, thank you for having us. I say that because CEDIA is, of course, 50% owner of Integrated Systems Europe, half with Avixa, half with CEDIA. It's really interesting, and I digress for 1 second here because you understand this. It's really interesting talking to vendors and talking to exhibitors about that mix, right? Because there are some vendors that are 100% in the residential market. There are some that are 100% in the commercial. There's a good portion of them that service both on different levels, right? And that's why I like Integrated Systems, or that's why I look forward to ISE every year, because you're going to get things from that group that you may not see if you only go to InfoComm or you only go to CEDIA Expo. That's what makes ISE kind of unique. So thanks so much for having us. I appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, you guys are in Hall 2. Hall 2, again, H as in Herald 600, Hall 2, H600. If it's your first time at the FIRA, basically Hall 2 is the first one you get to as you're coming into the building. Daryl, it's not fair to ask you what we'll find, but we're going to talk about what CEDIA is doing the week of ISE.
Well, you mentioned Hall 2, and that is the first one you come to. Last year was my first time at ISE, and of course it was everyone's first time at the FIRA. Yeah. But Hall 2 this year is really going to be the residential hall. And as you say, most integrators outside of the United States do both. But if you really want to focus on the residential technology, Hall 2 is the place to be. That's where you'll find CEDIA's booth. And you'll also find the CEDIA Smart Home Technology stage in Hall 2, which is a new activation this year. We'll be announcing a lot of programs and a lot of education specific to the residential market.
If I'm walking around, and one of the things that ISE does really, really well is they have these different pavilions, and they've evolved over the years. But you guys have the smart stage. What do we find on the CEDIA Technology Smart Stage throughout that week?
Yeah, there's really two things to think about if you want education as a residential expert. One is the CEDIA conference, which are the classes that are going to be taking place the whole time upstairs in that classroom area. And I encourage people to go to cedia.net, and right at the top of the stage, at the top of the page, you'll see an ISE banner, and then you can go and register for all those classes. But in addition to those classes, in Hall 2, in the residential hall, there'll be a new CEDIA Smart Home stage. There you'll see a lot of classes about things that are interesting to the residential integrator, about marketing, about partnering with adjacent trades, about the future of integrators, all those things, including CEDIA's own annual meeting, which we're for the first time moving to ISE for this international audience.
That was very cool. One of the things that you guys have done really well is here in the States, at least, and I have limited visibility outside the States for CEDIA simply because my connections aren't quite that broad. And that's workforce development. I have a number of friends that are in the residential market. Joe Whitaker is one I'll pick on for a second. Joe has taught classes in Indianapolis, right? What are you guys talking about when it comes to workforce development globally?
Well, there'll be a pretty major initiative from CEDIA at ISE during the annual meeting. But essentially, just for background, when I've traveled around the world, talked to hundreds of CEDIA members worldwide, this is the number one issue that people bring up. I mean, in most associations, a CEO is going to be hearing from its members, I need more business. How can you get me more business? Here in this industry, what I've been hearing is, I have so much business, I need more technicians. So CEDIA is launching a three-pronged approach to workforce development. It will be global. It'll include, and I'll share some with you, but a lot of our highlights will be announced for the first time at ISE at our annual meeting on the Wednesday of ISE at 4 o'clock. But essentially, we're going to include students into our membership, and they're going to have a chance to explore some of our educational activities. When we go around the world to our tech summits, we're going to have a career fair element. What better way for these young people to come, actually touch and feel the technology and see, talk to integrators and bring resumes. And most excitingly, we're going to have a toolkit for our members to go out to schools, bring a very professional, very targeted to the young market toolkit that they can, convince people that this is a great life, this is a career, this is an amazing job where you can get a job tomorrow, earn good money, do cool things, work with the latest technology, and frankly, who wouldn't want to do that? So, what I've said to my members is, there's 4,000 of you, each of you go to one classroom this year, 30 people. I mean, do the math. That's a lot of people to reach. We'll bring those people into our industry.
Absolutely. And that we've been talking about workforce element for a number of years, AV in general, right? Yeah. This is not a commercial or a residential issue. It's both sides. And one of the things that's going to exacerbate that is as the supply chain issues start to wane and folks and dealers start getting product, in waves as opposed to where they are now, that workforce issue is really going to come back to us. So yeah, starting right now is a really, really good idea.
Yeah, and it's an issue with every industry, in the world right now. But I think our industry has a unique chance to tell a very good story about. You don't have to go to a 4-year college, be saddled with debt, and end up with a advanced aromatherapy degree and a master's degree, or whatever it is.
There's nothing wrong with aromatherapy. It's very important to some people.
No, it is. I don't mean to downplay it, but you can go to training, and within a year you could be apprenticing, and then you could earn good money doing cool things with cool equipment and make people happy in their homes. I mean, that's a great story to tell.
Absolutely is. All right, you guys are in Hall 2. You are in Hall 2. H as in Harry 600, 2H600. Daryl, not everybody is going to Barcelona, unfortunately. But so if they want to follow along with everything that CEDIA is talking about that week, how do they do that?
Come to cedia.net. That's our main new and improved website. You'll also find our social links on that site. And of course, I always encourage everybody to, if you have an idea for CEDIA, just email me at ceo@cedia.net. I'm ceo@cedia.org. And I read every email. It comes to my inbox. I answer them. So please let me know. So the email is ceo@cedia.org. The website is cedia.net.
Really does, because he's answered some of mine, so you should take that up. All right, Daryl, we will see you in Barcelona. For us, for AVNation, go by our website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. Follow along as we also head to Barcelona for ISE 2023, 31st of January through the 3rd of February. All that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.